owners to register their firearms with the police and apply for licenses to
All right,
own them.
Belly, stay on with me. Now, at the United Nations Security Council open debate on leadership for peace, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Harish P, says Pakistan's unwarranted reference to Jammu and Kashmir in today's open debate attests to its obsessive focus on harming India and its people. Pakistan, of course, has a unique way of respecting the will of its people by jailing a prime minister, by banning the rural political party, and by letting its armed forces engineer a constitutional coup through the 27th Amendment and giving lifetime immunity to its Chief of Defence Forces. Let's listen in.
I refer to the statement made by the representative of Pakistan today. India would like to reiterate that the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. They were, are, and will always remain so. Pakistan's unwarranted reference to Jammu and Kashmir in today's open debate attests to its obsessive focus on harming India and its people. A serving non-permanent Security Council member that chooses to further this obsession in all meetings and platforms of the UN in pursuit of its divisive agenda cannot be expected to fulfill its designated responsibilities and obligations. India had entered into the Indus Waters Treaty 65 years ago in good faith, in a spirit of goodwill and friendship. Throughout these 6.5 decades, Pakistan has violated the spirit of the treaty by inflicting 3 wars and thousands of terror attacks on India. In the last 4 decades, tens of thousands of Indian lives have been lost in Pakistan-sponsored terror attacks, the most recent of which was a Pahalgam terror attack in April 2025, which involved religion-based targeted killings of 26 innocent civilians by Pakistan-sponsored terrorists. It is in this backdrop that India has finally announced that the treaty will be held in abeyance until Pakistan, which is a global epicenter of terror, credibly and irrevocably ends its support for cross-border and all other forms of terrorism. Pakistan, of course, has a unique way of respecting the will of its people by jailing a prime minister, by banning the ruling political party, and by letting its armed forces engineer a constitutional coup through the 27th Amendment and giving lifetime immunity to its Chief of Defence Forces. Let me be clear. India will counter Pakistan-sponsored terrorism in all its forms and manifestations with all its might. Madam President, in closing, with abiding faith in multilateralism, India reiterates that we stand ready to contribute towards working for peace, security, and prosperity for all.
Belly, that's an excellent statement coming in by, of course, P. Harish, the ambassador, of course, and he's made a very pointed, scathing attack at Pakistan, and very rightly so. He's spoken about Pakistan's obsession with India, and the obsession is about harming India at all points. What more can you tell us?
Actually, India has sharply criticized Pakistan's domestic political situation at the United Nations Security Council, flagging Islamabad for jailing former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan and allowing its armed forces to engineer a constitutional coup through the new 27th Amendment, which granted lifetime immunity to its Chief of Defence Forces, Asim Munir. So, referring to Pakistan's democratic crisis during the UNSC open debate on leadership for peace, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Harish Parvataneni, said that Islamabad has a unique way of respecting the will of its people, pointing to the imprisonment of Khan along with the banning of the ruling political party and granting so much power to the military. Pakistan, of course, has a unique way of respecting the will of its people by jailing a prime minister, by banning the ruling political party, and by letting its armed forces engineer a constitutional coup through the 27th Amendment and giving lifetime immunity to its the Chief of Defence Forces. Parvataneni has reiterated on that. So the remarks were part of India's broader rejection of Pakistan's claims over Jammu and Kashmir, which New Delhi termed unwarranted and reflective of Islamabad's obsessive focus on harming India. The Indian envoy was referring to the imprisonment of former Pakistani PM Imran Khan, who has been serving a sentence in the EUR 190 million corruption case since August 2023 as well as facing trials under the Anti-Terrorism Act related to the May 9th, 2023 protests. And his party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, has voiced serious concern over a recent report by the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture, Alice Jill Edwards, alleging that the party founder is being subjected to degrading and inhuman treatment during
All right, Swali, thanks for joining me with those details and more breaking news, viewers. A violent story